We are very lucky today, everybody, like I said in my class, to have Dr. Brenda Hudson here to speak to us about journaling, which I know for many of you is something that is frustrating. She is a writer, has been a writer her entire life. When she was in 8th grade, your age, she had a journal. She used her journal to work through problems, questions she has, like many of you use your journal to do. In college, she did a lot of research and enjoyed writing research papers. As an adult, she's worked as a journalist, a medical writer, a fiction author, an editor, a writing teacher. And one of her favorite things to do is to come into settings like this with young people who are just starting to learn that writing doesn't have to be a painful, scary thing, and show you exactly that. That writing can be entertaining, writing can be thought-provoking, writing can be useful. So she's here today to talk to us about journaling. Everyone should have a packet in front of them. The front page of the packet is notes. That's the stuff that she's going to tell you so you don't have to write it down. The second page of the packet is pretty much blank. There will be multiple times during the presentation when she stops and asks you to practice what she has been talking to you about. That is the place for you to do the writing. This will be as useful to you as you make it, everybody. So give her your attention, and really, when she gives you an opportunity to practice writing, really play around and practice the writing. This isn't for a grade. This is going to make your job easier. Is there anybody in the front row who wants a hard board to write on, a writing board? I've got some in here. And Mr. Driscoll is going to happily hand them to me so I can give them to some of you guys. Something to write on. Anybody else want something hard to write on? Okay, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, first of all, for having me. I do love coming in and talking about writing, and I truly did love writing research papers. I know that probably sounds strange. But even though I've done writing for as long as I can remember almost, I still get nervous about the blank page and how do you start something, and knowing that your writing is all ahead of you and you haven't even begun yet. So what I'm going to bring to you today is a couple of techniques that I use and lots of people use to get things started. And the point is they can be really short in duration and really specific and focused and low stakes, as they say. So you're not being asked to write brilliance every second that you're here. We're going to play with writing, okay? So I hope that it ends up being not painful for you, and that you can use these techniques in your writer's notebooks, but also for your homework, other homework, which I'll kind of explain as we go along. And maybe you'll want to use these journaling techniques to journal outside of school about yourselves, to figure things out like I did when I was your age and still do, honestly. So, but before we do all that, I want to ask you a question about your interests. Is there anyone here who likes sports or is an athlete? This school is very athletic, I have found, by asking that question. I hated athletics. I wasn't very athletic myself. But before a big game or a scrimmage, what do they have you do? What does your coach suggest? Warm up? Yeah, warm up. I'm going to give you a writing equivalent of jumping jacks here. So you have, I think your second page is kind of blank. I'm going to give you 5 really quick writing prompts. And all I want you to do is write one word or a phrase. Super quick. It's not going to be hard. You're going to be able to think of something to write within a second, I think. So this is just our jumping jacks here. We're going to write, I'm going to ask you 5 things. Ready? Something that makes you smile. Something that makes you smile. a word or a phrase. Okay, quick, because I'm going to go to the next, which is something that makes you want to yell. Something that makes you want to yell. Okay, and something that makes you sad. Something that makes you sad. Okay, and the fourth one is something you're looking forward to. Something you're looking forward to. And then lastly, something you're dreading. Yeah, I'll repeat them all. So there were 5. The first one, something that makes you smile. Second, something that makes you want to yell. The third is something that makes you sad. The fourth is something you're looking forward to. And the fifth is something you are dreading. You'd rather not face. Okay, that was probably a minute and a half. And now you're warmed up, hopefully not out of breath for the rest of the writing. But the idea is just to get some things down on paper. We're going to do some more writing that involves more than one word. But now you're limbered up for writing. Does anybody want to share something that makes them smile? Something they wrote down? Yeah.
Jack Reed.
Jack Reed. Okay. Next. Anyone else? All right. How about something that makes you want to yell? Yeah.
My mom.
Your mom. As a mom, that wounds me. No. Something that makes you sad. Anyone? Yeah.
When Jack Reed left.
But he's back now, Lorenzo.
And something you're looking forward to. Hang on, you. Someone else? Anyone? I heard graduation, I have to say. And then something you're dreading. School. Oh, okay. All right, so thank you for sharing. I'm going to give you the first technique, which is a little bit similar. It's called a springboard. It's described in your handout, but basically what a springboard is a sentence or a question that you use to ask yourself, directed at yourself as a writing prompt. So it helps you focus. It gives you something to write about. Again, it can be a sentence or a question. And the point of this is to just to get you started, to give you some time to explore a topic. And I know in your writer's notebooks, you have to write 3 times a week. Is that right? 2. Okay. So springboards you can use as a topic to explore in your writing. Okay. I've given you on the handout a couple of suggestions of springboards. What's going on with me today? What I really want? Why do I feel whatever? The coolest thing in my life is I don't understand why. Sometimes I wish more people knew about this about me. I just throw out those suggestions. I'm sure you can come up with some that are probably more interesting or relevant for yourself. For your writer's notebook, you might want to create a list of maybe 10 questions or statements, things that interest you that you can just write down and have to hand as a way to, as ideas that you can use for your topics to write about, so that they're there if you're ever stuck, if you ever have writer's block, you can just go to your list. You can certainly use these too. And then with springboards, one idea is to just give yourself a set amount of time and just write. So I don't know if you're like me, sometimes I have an assignment to do and I just get stuck getting started. So with a springboard, just give yourself, here we're going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes isn't that long, it's not bad. But just write, even if you are stuck, just keep going. And it doesn't matter if it's not all brilliant. This is another kind of warm-up, okay? So give your permission to turn off that editor that lives inside of your head and have fun with this and just write. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is either pick one of the suggested springboards, or you can choose anything that's of interest. If you want to make one up yourself, that's fine. And then I'm going to give you 5 minutes to write. I'm going to give you a minute heads up when you have just a minute left. And I want you to have fun with it. Do you have any questions about what I'm asking you to do before we start? Okay, if you have questions as you go along, just shout out. Okay, so 5 minutes, keep writing, don't stop, and I'll let you know when you have 1 minute left, okay? And go. Yep, just choose a topic, and I'm just asking you to write for 5 minutes straight. All right, so that was 5 minutes of writing. Hopefully that wasn't too painful for you. Did you, how many of you came up with your own springboards? Yeah? Your own? Yeah? Do you want to share what the prompt was? Yeah?
About my dog.
About your dog? Cool, thanks. Anyone else? Yes?
I'm confused about blank because blank.
Wow. Okay, good. How was 5 minutes for that time frame?
Not enough.
Okay, good. So this is just an idea to give you topics, brainstorm ideas. You can write them in your writer's notebook. And again, you can also use this on your homework assignment, other homework that you have. For instance, if you're not sure where to begin with an essay, just take 2 minutes and use the prompt of where do I begin? And I bet within 2 minutes you can just come up with a few ideas of where you might start. Oh my gosh, I have a question of what is so funny? Okay. So do you have any questions about springboards before I move on? Okay. I'm going to talk to you then about clustering, which is a kind of a visual exercise you can do. So there's no big long sentences involved in this. You can be totally random and really quick with coming up with ideas. It's a way to brainstorm about a topic. Okay? Have you heard this term before, clustering or mind mapping, maybe?
Web charts, spider charts. You've all done this before.
It must be the post-lunch. So what you're going to do is take a topic, idea, something that interests you, and that's going to be your main topic to explore. So I'm going to model it up here, and I'm going to ask for your help. So I don't know, looking back on anything that you've written so far or any other ideas, what can you come up with something that we can just explore really briefly here? Okay, I'm going to do writing. So all you do is write it in the middle of your page and circle it. And what you're going to do is brainstorm ideas about writing. What about writing? Maybe you think it's tedious. Anything else?
Styles,
Uninspired.
right?
What?
Styles is right.
Styles. So So if we follow the idea of styles, we might think of what could be a style of writing.
I heard somebody say it. Say it loud.
Poetry. Awesome.
I hear everything.
Narrative. Essay. So what you're doing is just allowing yourself to brainstorm. And instead of writing a formal outline of something with a logical progression, you get to be completely random and just throw ideas down on the paper. And then you'll follow your ideas just by making these kind of connections. I don't know if everyone can see this. Yeah? So again, mind mapping, web map, cluster map. You're just going to write down thoughts, one words, maybe a phrase for each idea that comes to mind. So one way you can use this is, well, you can create a whole writer's notebook assignment with this. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
If you were to create a well-developed mind map with a central topic and then ideas that come out and then more ideas that come out of those. We're talking about serious, your branches have branches have branches. If you were thinking about this like a tree, I would take that as a writer's notebook entry. I'm not saying doing it every time, but I think this is a really good way to explore an idea that you maybe want to write more about down the road. So as you're practicing now, this is about how deep can you go with this web? How many branches can your branches have? How detailed can you be?
And for if you have an upcoming assignment, you could put that assignment topic here and just start throwing ideas down on paper instead of trying to, the first thing you do, you try and figure out how you're going to write this paper. So it's just a bit of a freer way of exploring a topic idea. Okay, but I'm going to have you practice it for a couple of minutes. So either from the exercises that you've already done here, or choose an upcoming assignment, an essay topic maybe, or just anything at all that interests you. Choose that as your main idea, and then I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and I just want you to start making those branches that we've been talking about. And just let yourself be random, and don't edit yourself, and just see what you come up with. Treat it as a game. All right, so that was the cluster technique that you can use. Again, it's sometimes fun to do a writing exercise that is not paragraph or sentence driven. Sometimes just changing up the format a little bit gives you other ideas. And what you can do is, looking at your cluster map, you can look at the different branches or ideas that came out of it, and maybe that ends up being a topic to explore in your writer's notebook. Again, just another way to generate some ideas. So we're going to go on to another technique. And my question to you is, how many of you like movies? Me too. I love movies. And so movies, they typically have dialogue, right? We're going to get you to practice writing dialogue. And in this exercise, you're going to actually write what looks like a movie script. Have you all seen that in print before? I'll show you what it looks like. On your handout, there is a little excerpt where it says me, and then the other person you're dialoguing with, I just initialed it DP for dialogue partner. So this is what you're going to do, and I'll explain it here. I'm going to have you dialogue between yourself and someone else of your choosing. It can be somebody real or somebody imagined, so someone in your life, like a friend, or someone in your family, or someone from your favorite character out of a book or other place. And you are going to talk to them on paper. You're going to obviously be yourself, but you're also going to put words in your dialogue partner's mouth too. So you get to play both parts. You get to determine what your dialogue partner is going to say to you, and you're just going to go back and forth, okay? So choose someone from your life or from your interests, character, and then I'm just going to have you write for maybe about 5 minutes. And I know that dialogue is going to be a feature of one of your upcoming assignments, right?
Dialogue is tough, everybody. This is the style of writing most of you have for sure never done before. Sometimes writing dialogue, you feel a little silly writing two people talking back and forth to each other. It's a super, super useful and effective technique. So a couple of things. First of all, you are not trying to recreate the dialogue you heard on Grey's Anatomy last night. It's you. You're talking. How do you talk? Don't try to make this sound fancier than you are. The second thing you need to try to do is dig a little bit deeper than, hey, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Good. Okay.
What's going on?
You had that conversation in the hall before you came here with your friends. You want to try to dig a little bit deeper with the dialogue that you're writing. This is useful to you. This is useful to you because trimester 3, you will be writing us a personal narrative, an essay in which you explain to us a situation that happened to you. In that essay, you're going to need to include dialogue, a conversation that you had with someone else while that situation was going on. Here's an opportunity for you to practice that dialogue technique.
Thank you. And then just one other thing I'll say is this is a great technique to use if you are in conflict with someone, with a friend, with someone in your family, and you want to work it out on paper. I mean, you get to give both parts, so it gives you a bit of power. But sometimes it's surprising what comes out in these short exercises. You might walk away with a bit of understanding of the other person's perspective without even trying. But anyway, so just to say, dialogue in the way that you want with your dialogue partner. Ask some important questions. Ask things that face-to-face might be difficult. You can play here. So I'm going to give you probably 4 minutes and give you a heads up when you have 1 minute left. Do you have any questions before we start? Okay, go. Okay, so thank your dialogue partner for your chat, and maybe you'll
Thank you, Lazy.
chat later. So these are 3 techniques that I hope you will try using in your writer's notebook, and maybe for your other homework, and maybe to do some journaling on your own too. Just before we go, if you wanted to think about the writing techniques that you tried today and marry them with a couple, with a topic, and then you will have your next writer's notebook assignment ready to go, so you don't have to worry about coming up with something. So just something to bear in mind. I hope you find these writing techniques useful.
The document that we gave you today, the packet, is yours to keep. The front page, I would say to my students, is a gift. It's something that I think you will want to refer back to, so I would hold on to it. We definitely want to thank Dr. Hudson for giving us some of her time to come and speak to us today. We really appreciate it.